Hey everyone, Rose, Dr. Drew.
Hey there, let's get everyone in. Just give me 1 second here to finish what I was doing.
Yeah, oh God.
Did not know we were going live, so.
I don't see anybody in the chat. Oh, here we go.
There they come.
So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I think our host is going to be off his phone in a second.
He is indeed. I had a patient urgency that I had to deal with here, and I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. They don't like me to talk, so I'm going to let you do all the talking
No,
today.
please, I need your help at the moment, so thank you for that.
Hi, everybody. Hello.
Okay, here we go.
Saka
All right,
souffle.
so we, Saka souffle, thank you guys. I'm going to give you a little update on the data that I'm seeing here, and then we're going to talk to Gregg, Wiele from Patina Restaurant Group. They are doing amazing work bringing meals to the frontline personnel. So I want to tell you all about, they're going to be the first charity we're going to highlight here, and they are with us today. It's at Patina Cares at patinagroup.com, where they have a phone number, 213-663-0046. If you like to donate, and relatively small donations go a long way. Gregg will here to tell you about that. Yes, I think Saka souffle is going to just become our new greeting. I suspect. See, Beth, like Susan.
Can you tell me that email again?
It is Patina Cares, Patina Cares, one word, at patinagroup.com. And we'll put that into the thread for you guys so you can see it as well. So a little bit of update in LA County. We're doing great with 6,300 cases and a catchment of 10 million. That's pretty good. In Los Angeles, in the United States, 364,000 cases, and unfortunately 10,000 deaths thus far, a lot of those in New York City. California, the curves have been readjusted coming out of University of Washington, Dr. Murray, and they look remarkably good. Like California is going to have no difficulty meeting its resource demands. And even the deaths per day, which is the horrible graph to look at, but I think we're going to see a sudden downturn in that with some of the novel treatments that are coming in rapidly. I'm going to be speaking to Dr. Oz tonight on Fox 11 about his enthusiasm for the hydroxychloroquine and zinc combinations. He is seeing a lot of really remarkable reports on that. He's very enthusiastic. I'm still waiting for the final research to come in, at least the initial research to come in, and that should be coming very, very soon. I'm hoping this week. I've been saying all along that I hope this week will be about treatment and testing. And if the treatment is working, we'll see a drop in hospitalization, a drop in the daily death rate. New York is just peaking out today. They look like they're meeting their demands, but if this goes down as quickly as it looks like it might, they should be in good shape. Discharges are outpacing admissions. So let me get back to the restream to look at you guys. What about New Jersey? Somebody's asking. New Jersey was hit very hard, and I kind of thought it was weird that not more was made of the struggles in New Jersey, because they had real serious resource demands. It seems like they must have met them, because, it's funny, I've not looked at the New Jersey data in a while, and New Jersey looks just like New York in very many ways. Not quite the numbers. It peaks a little later, like the 13th or 14th, so they've got another week to go through. And not clear, there's a big confidence range on the fatality rates, but it looks like it's going to be, about half of what New York is, but still very, very similar. So New Jersey got pounded. So our thoughts are with the caretakers and the families of the victims and the victims themselves in New Jersey. Am I fading in and out for some reason here? Again, in certain areas, things are looking really good. California, things look remarkably good, and certain states look really good. In other states, they're getting hit pretty hard. As I said, Melanie, California is looking very, very good. California in general is remarkable. I'll give you the specific data on that if I can get it real quick. California specifically, we'll jump to California, has just 14,000 cases, again, out of 30 million. So 14,000 cases. There have been 343 deaths. In the state of California, that is remarkable. That is remarkable in any kind of viral outbreak like this. That is really doing well. But, we worry about Louisiana, we worry about New Jersey, we worry about Michigan. There's some areas that are getting hit and have to really flex. California, because we are doing so well, was able to send 500 of our ventilators to other states that really need them. Let's see. Let me just look for you guys really quickly on what you're thinking. Wash your Chicago. Let me get you in Illinois real quick. Illinois data. Again, you guys can go yourself. It's covid19.healthdata.org. And you don't need me to interpret that data for you because it's pretty clear what's going on. Yeah, Illinois has got a little bit of a struggle. They're going to be peaking in about next week. And so, when you hear, but you're going to meet your resource demands, it looks like. It's going to be a little dicey towards the end of next week. So prepare yourself. Illinois is going to get a good, going to be stressing the system, but it looks like you'll be able to meet the demand. Now, again, if the hydroxychloroquine and some of the antivirals prove to be more efficacious than we know at this moment, then you'll see all that kind of drift down. And Dr. Murray adjusts his curves about every 3 days. So Wednesday, Thursday, we'll be able to see a little more where we are as the week progresses. And if you heard the the Surgeon General talk about what a rough week this is going to be, he's talking about in the country and he's talking about deaths. That it's going to be, this is when the deaths peak and this is when the numbers get awful, and then the curve flattens and straightens and hopefully turns it down. Let me bring my guest in. My guest is from the... Whoop. Okay, are you good with that? It is Gregg Wiele of the Patina Group. Along with their team, they've been feeding the frontline heroes for the past few weeks. It is Chef Joachim Splichal as well as Gregg Wiele's brainchild. They've served over 3,000 meals thus far. Cedars-Sinai Children's Hospital. It's here locally in Los Angeles and Orange County, St. Joseph's Hospital, Orange County. You can go to Patina Cares at patinagroup.com or call 213-663-0046 if you want to help these guys out. They have their meals. Your money goes a long way with their meals, it seems to me. Gregg, welcome to the program.
Very much. I'm very proud and happy to be a guest on your show.
You should be. Great job. How did you come upon this idea? and it's extraordinary.
Well, I'll tell you what, this pandemic has been just devastating to the restaurant industry in general. And, we found of our 35 locations in Southern California, we only have 3 of them open right now, servicing the public for takeout and for delivery. And, in efforts to keeping some folks working and in efforts of helping the community and our neighbors, we wanted to give back and figure out, what we can do to support, especially the first responders and the hospital workers, the doctors and the nurses. And so we came up with this program called Patina Cares. And what we do is we're preparing box meals with no contact box meals, and we're letting businesses and individuals, et cetera, sponsor these box meals. And so that money goes directly to paying for the food that goes into these boxes. And we prepare a home-cooked, scratch-made meal and package it up and we deliver it to different folks that we're working with.
So let me shine a little light on some of this stuff. So we're keeping people working in the restaurant business, which I'm gravely concerned about how we turn all the hospitality stuff back on when that's a lot of people. So we're keeping people employed. Right. We are serving the frontline folks, and Patina food. If you ever had it, this isn't McDonald's. This is really serious. And I was just thinking, when I was deep in the AIDS epidemic, I used to be in the old county hospital, and we used to eat Ensure and graham crackers to get by because that's all we had. And sometimes there was a cheese sandwich. So believe me, this would be something highly cherished.
Yeah, it's Dr. Drew. It's a wholesome meal. We're doing things like pasta bolognese. We're doing things like chicken parmesan, and we're packaging these things up individually. So they're designed to be able to drop off room temperature, so the folks can heat them up in the hospitals if they like, and have a hot meal when they can. Because I know these first responders are just working around the clock, and our hearts go out to all the hard work that they're doing. So anything that we can do to get a hot meal in their stomachs, we're more than happy to do it. So
and Gregg, I'll tell you one of the other. For sure, all of our hearts and thoughts are with people that are working in the front lines right now. But I got to tell you, whenever people talk to me about the economic downturn that we're in, people will often say to me, "I want to go back and just go into the restaurants and patronize. They can't wait to go out and support so you guys can open back up and run again." So there's a lot of. Go ahead.
We're all waiting for that. We're all waiting for that moment to happen. From the dining room managers to the bartenders to the cooks. Those are the folks that are kind of hit really hard by this. and they can't wait to get back in the restaurants and start serving folks.
Right, exactly. So where are you from? Where do you live now? Are you part of Los Angeles, Orange County? Where's your home?
Yeah, I tell you, I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and I've been with Patina Group for about 20 years now. And I have to say, I've been listening to you for my whole life, to be honest, Dr. Drew. So it's an honor to be talking to you right now. And I'm based in Los Angeles, and Patina Restaurant Group was founded by Joaquin Special 31 years ago.
Wow.
Our flagship restaurant. Yeah,
Wow.
Patina, the flagship, is in the Walt Disney Concert Hall. So we do, we do the food service at LA County Museum of Art. We're working at the different performing arts venues throughout Southern California, and some of our restaurants that are open now for delivery and takeout. We have Nick and Steps, which is a steakhouse in downtown. We have Tangata, which is a restaurant in Orange County in the Bowers Museum. And then we have our catering arm, which is called Kitchen Forest Point Foods out of Pasadena. So these meals that we're donating to the first responders in the different hospitals, they're being prepared at these very locations and deployed every day on fleet of trucks that we have.
And in terms of getting the money, is it Venmo, or how do we do this? How do we get it? So the website is patinacares at patinagroup.com. Is there some way to give right there?
Yeah. If you email patinacares at patinagroup.com, there'll be folks ready to respond immediately. And folks can donate. It's $6 a meal, and you can donate from one meal all the way up to as many as you like. So we've been working with different organizations, businesses, individuals, and they'll commit a certain amount of meals, and we'll take credit cards or checks or however you would like to donate. And that money goes straight to purchasing the food and the packaging supplies, and then putting these meals together.
So let me get that. I want to get it kind of nailed down. So we send an email to the Patinacares at patinagroup.com, and then somebody will get back to us for the mechanism for donation. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Or you can call our number at 213-663-0046.
Okay.
And
213, yeah.
663,
Yep.
What is it? 213-663?
0046. 213-663-0046.
You can also find them at Patina Group on Instagram.
Got it.
Right. Our main website is patinagroup.com, and our IT department's working on putting up a landing page for the Patina Cares program. But it's really evolving by the minute. And Dr. Drew, we're finding that so many folks want to help and they just don't know how to help. And this is a great way to feed, like I say, the people on the front lines.
While you and I are here talking, people are wondering about their individual states around the area. So let me just quickly give another update. Somebody's asking about Arizona. Arizona looks good, but it's going to be a slow, flat run for Arizona. They're going to have no trouble meeting their resource demands, it looks like. The total number is going to be about 851 hospitalizations at the peak. That's in April 22nd. So Arizona is going to lag behind, so you've got to be very careful with this. Again, the really serious question in all of this is how do we get back to work, and how do they help us do that in such a way without causing another outbreak? Particularly, I worry about states like Arizona because it is so slow and flat and going out for another 3 or 4 weeks. In New York, we're already at the peak. In California, we're a few days away from the peak. And it's looking good in California. New York, of course, I think we're all aware is really, really struggling. Okay. Is there other stuff? Are you working at all downtown with any other organizations? Anybody else we should talk to that you feel needs help?
Another fantastic organization they've been working with is Union Station Homeless Services, and they're based out of Pasadena. So we're providing several box trucks and several delivery drivers, and we're helping to distribute over 5,000 meals a week to local homeless shelters and makeshift homeless shelters that are being put into motels throughout the San Gabriel Valley.
Oh my goodness! Okay, so let's talk about that. So this is for those of you that are not in Southern California or California generally. We have a huge homeless problem. Everyone's aware of that. In Pasadena, we have an organization called the Rescue Mission, the Mission. That's very good. It's been here for a long time, and Patina is supporting them with food. We always go down there with food on the holidays and stuff. We have for many, many years. But there's been a movement to get people off the street into something like 300 different motels and hotels in the all around Los Angeles and California generally. And one of the issues has been how are we going to feed these people? What are the medical staff needs going to be like, and I'm, that's a very major project. So are you working with individual motels or the county?
Well,
How are you doing
yeah.
that?
Currently, we're working with Union Station Homeless Services,
I see.
and so they're servicing about 8 to 10 of these motels that have been converted into single resident rooms for various homeless folks. And
Right.
so what we do is they're taking donations and they're packaging up about 5,000 meals a week, and then so several times a week, Patina Group is dedicated, like I said, several vehicles and drivers to pick up these meals and help load these trucks, and then we are then distributing these to 8 to 10 different motels and shelters currently through San Gabriel Valley, and we're finding a lot of traction in this program as well. So as their needs grow and as it expands, Patina Group is ready to help them with whatever it is that they might need as far as food and box meals, et cetera, et cetera. But they're doing great work. Feeding 5,000 folks, homeless folks a week is fantastic.
Great. Well, listen, we just wanted to shine a light on what you're doing, Gregg, and we appreciate you spending a little time with us, and we'll keep pushing it out there. Go ahead and put a tweet out and tag me, and we'll retweet it and that kind of stuff. And again, reminder for people is you just send an email to patinacares@patinagroup.com. They will contact you. You can make a big difference with a relatively small donation. 213-663-0046. It's a great way to make dollars go because we're dealing with homeless. Think about it. Maintaining jobs for restaurant workers, supporting a great brand, getting frontline personnel fed, and homeless, all with $6 per meal. That's crazy. And then, let's see, it stays about the same. Is there any kind of larger donations? Is there any scale that you get? It's $6 all the way across, yeah.
$6 a meal across, yeah.
Okay. All right,
Thank you
Gregg.
so much, Dr. Drew,
You bet,
for
Gregg.
putting the word out. I
Appreciate it.
Keep
us appraised. We'll stay behind you, all right?
Nice to meet you. Come back soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gregg.
I will. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, so let's look at the Restream feed here for just a few minutes here. I'll watch you guys. Uh-oh.
I don't know why, but this weird screen pops up when I change it, and I don't know where it came from, but we have a ghost in the computer. Hold on one second.
And is it coming up on Facebook or?
No, it's weird. It pops up a phone number, and I don't even have that in my computer. I don't know what happened. Okay, I got it. You're good though now.
All right, excellent.
I'm gonna mess around with this cam and see what's going on.
Somebody taking a cyclovir that does not add any risk or complication or improvement for COVID, so don't worry about that. Wait, let's read this. As the infected amount declines, how do we assure those that never got infected in the future? Right. This is the big question, which is how do we let people out without getting infected by somebody who's maybe walking around asymptomatic, for instance. Yeah, we're going to have to do a lot of testing and use a lot of technology. I am hoping and praying that our government is working on that. I can't imagine they are not. So Dr. Birx is somebody who is, you see her up there at the press conferences every day, and she is somebody that has worked in Africa using these kinds of monitoring systems for HIV and AIDS. So I'm hoping that she is working to create at least regional kinds of systems in areas where, regional kind of systems where the things can be monitored. Okay. And again, we may things get better as treatments get better. So be whatever you're hearing, it's all could be improved if the way we're approaching treatments start to have real effect. How do I think you're doing in the UK? I can tell you, you can use the same website that I'm using. They have other countries on it. It's covid.healthdata.org, at least in this country, that's what it is. Let me see if I can shoot. It was giving me countries before, and now suddenly it's shifted to states. So give me just a second here. There we go. United Kingdom, I've got it here, so I'm going to be able to give you that data in just a second. Yeah, United Kingdom is in for it a little bit. It looks like you're going to peak in about 10 days. The death rate is going to be very similar to what we have here in the United States. And based on these models, unless things shift down quickly, there's going to be a trouble meeting the ICU bed and ventilator demands. So, it's looking a little rough in the UK. I don't know how that works out in terms of region. In other words, is London worse off than, Brighton or something? I don't know. It doesn't break that down. But if you look at all beds, you're going to need about 100,000 beds, according to this. You're going to need about 24,000 ICU beds and about 20,000 ventilators. So, and this is going to be increasing over the next 10 days or so.
So, Drew, you said at Patina Cares at patinagroup.com.
Correct.
That's an email address.
Correct. As I said repeatedly, send an email to that address, and they will contact you by email on details on how to contribute. So that's an email address. That's not a website.
He said their main website was Patina Group, but I think that's just their restaurants. I don't think.
Right. He said to email that address or call that number, and somebody will help you make the donation. That's the idea. Yeah, that's rough. And the United Kingdom was sort of late to the party in terms of more aggressive kinds of social distancing and isolation. So we will see. Again, so much depends on what you shut down and what kinds of treatments become available. Christian, you're saying, I don't know, I'm reading a data sheet. Be more specific. What do you mean? Californians are... Yes, Jesse, that is true. Okay, you want to hear about Oklahoma. So let's get into Oklahoma very quickly. Everybody, you can go to this website yourself. Again, it's covid19.healthdata.org. Oklahoma, whoops. It seems to not want to go to Oklahoma, which is weird.
Oh no, is Oklahoma gone?
Yeah. Here we go. Oklahoma is looking pretty good. Oklahoma's looking fine. You're going to peak, though, a little bit later. You're sort of downstream peak, much like Arizona, so you're going to have to stay quite diligent for a while. And now my computer froze. There we go. It doesn't like Oklahoma for some reason.
Aww.
And the death rate, again, peaking about 22nd or 23rd. It's interesting that I wonder if it's because California shut down so early that we are going to peak earlier than everybody else, but it's about 17 days to the peak in Oklahoma. So if you look at the kinds of graphs that are there, unless they shift down and left, you're going to have to stay diligent till well into May. So again, this is what's kind of interesting about all this, right? I think there's more data to come in Oklahoma. This looks like an incomplete graph compared to some of his other ones, but we'll see. And again, there'll be some treatment data in all this soon enough, I trust. This again highlights the importance of looking at locally what's going on and doing local measures. And like Washington State is doing very, very well right now. It's already there. The first state I can see that's clearly on the downslope of everything. And they're meeting their resource demands, and even their death rate is declining now at 18 per day. So even though they were the first place that there was a really serious problem, they have gotten it under control. The challenge becomes, how do we roll back out? Elizabeth, I don't know what you're asking about. I don't have data about South Florida particularly. Yeah, you're asking, why did Louisiana suddenly shift? Well, California shifted too. It's based on our behavior change, right? These graphs are not, like the original graph was going to be 60 million people sick, remember that? And then that was not taking into account any social distancing, any behavior changes whatsoever. So here's Louisiana, and yeah, it looks like Louisiana is flattening out nicely, and they are actually passing their peak right now, according to this graph, and are on the downslope as well. So it looks like Louisiana may have, according to this data, may have dodged a bullet there. So that's an interesting observation. You're asking why it shifted. It's shifted based on the change in behavior.
Somebody wants to know if kids can take Hydrolite.
Yes, they can. Again, not a large amounts. Wouldn't do more than a tablet or a stick, but sure. And somebody's also asking, see that. Pectus excavatum, I don't think that would significantly, because the problem with this disorder is oxygenation, not lung compliance. So and excavatum, which is a sternum that goes inward, could affect lung capacity, but that really is not so much the problem with this thing as far as I can tell. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, Kelly, about that case you're describing there. Okay. Albuterol and antihistamine. I'm not quite sure what you're asking there. Just going up the restream here to see some of your questions. Somebody was asking about the initial symptoms of COVID, and they can be just about anything. They can be diarrhea, they can be sore throat, they can be fever, chills. Classically, it's fever, chills followed by cough, right? But it can be many other symptoms, including no symptoms. There have now been some for the first time, some cases were documented that have no symptoms other than loss of taste and smell, and turned out to have the virus.
People are being pretty nice today.
Good.
There's a few jokesters out there.
New Hampshire. What about New Hampshire? Let's take a look at New Hampshire. I have no idea. All right. New Hampshire. Yeah, New Hampshire's in very, very good shape. It's going to be a very small outbreak. You still need, the resources are still going to be stretched a bit because you guys are obviously a smaller state. The death rate is essentially 0 today, so hopefully that will continue that way. But just to restate, that's why I think the local epidemiology is such an important part of all this. Obviously, New Hampshire is different than New York City. Is hydroxychloroquine something that might be helpful? Well, I'm going to be talking to Dr. Oz about that tonight. He's very enthusiastic about it. I hope it is. People are using a lot of it. Yeah, this 5G radioactivity stuff, please, everyone needs to please stop on that. I don't know where you're getting that stuff, but it has nothing to do with nothing biological.
Oh, no, but how do we know, Drew?
Oh, please. So back to the hydroxychloroquine, there are anecdotes pouring in of extremely positive responses, also some reports coming in of no response. But in those people for which the response rate is limited, what about Diamox? Jay asking a great question. So I'll address that in just a second. So Jay, that's the future that's the next couple of days if people will be addressing that issue. So hydroxychloroquine has antiviral properties. It also might affect the way hemoglobin is metabolized, and that people are starting to look at the fact that so much of this disorder, when it goes bad, is about the inability to oxygenate. And there's an increasing thought that maybe there's something wrong with hemoglobin binding to oxygen, much like in an altitude sickness. And somebody just asked the question, what about Diamox or acetazolamide, which is a medicine you take when you go to high altitudes to prevent altitude sickness? And indeed, in severe altitude sickness, you can get ARDS. That's what happens. You can also get vasculitis. Now, I have not heard people talk about vasculitis, but I have heard them talk about a cytokine cascade, which is kind of like a vasculitis. And I'm wondering if that's the same thing as what we would see in things like an altitude disorder. So things like Diamox shift the hemoglobin oxygen curve in a certain direction that benefits the hemoglobin metabolism in such a way that it can bind and deliver oxygen more effectively at lower oxygen tensions. But again, there must be some specific physiology being hit there, and I don't know that that's been worked out yet. So people are asking the question about Diamox, but I've not read any data on it being used yet. Okay, so I didn't make sense according to Downtown Trash. Just altitude sickness is something you can get sick if you go to high altitude, right? Where the oxygen pressure is low. You can actually get an illness called altitude sickness, and it can be associated with inflammation, which is much like you hear about with coronavirus, and ARDS, which is the dreaded complication of coronavirus. And people are starting to wonder, could there be some connection here between the phenomenon of altitude sickness, which is oxygen and hemoglobin and it not being adequately oxygenated, and this phenomenon? Now, is it just that the lungs are so completely filled that the oxygen isn't getting in, and so it's persistent low levels of oxygen that's causing people to get inflammation? Or is there something specific going on in the relationship between the red blood cells, oxygen, and its ability to deliver oxygen? I've seen nothing yet that's meaningful, but this is the kind of innovation and thinking I expect to see from our U.S. system. That's interesting. Okay. So any questions you guys have? You want more? I see more state questions. You want me to look that stuff up for you, so I will happily do so. Somebody wants to know about Tennessee. Tennessee, I'd heard was doing quite well. I spoke to somebody in Nashville, I think yesterday. It's only at 25 deaths per day at its peak, and that peak will be next week, April 15th or so. It looks like there'll be no difficulty meeting resource demands, so that's good too. So Tennessee.
New York got the 800 number that we expected.
Did you just get that data or something?
787 people died yesterday in New York. That was a while up there. So
okay,
it actually happened.
And again, that's the sad part of the story.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's going to be in the 700-800 range for the next 5-6 days. Unless I keep saying unless because I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that some treatments are going to start to have their full effect and start to drag this down. Jay Scott, yes, hydroxychloroquine and zinc seem to be the interesting combination. I did go to Tennessee. We talked about that. With levobuterol, you got to talk to your doctor about your asthma inhalers. Almost anything you inhale, people are having concerns about, whether it's anything. If you're having, talk to your doctor about it. Make sure your inhalers are appropriate for this particular problem. How long till the instant tests are distributed? It's a great question. As far as I can tell, we don't have reliable antibody tests yet. I've now had some experience with people taking the antibody test who definitely had COVID, testing negative. So that's the concern. Susan, that was your concern about that test as well?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's apparently like a 30 or 40% false negative rate there in some of these. Now, if the FDA can get behind one of them, maybe we can find one that's more effective and see. Thoughts on what the numbers be in a week or two? It's regional. It's not where I want it to be. It's where I feel like we're in pretty good shape. Now it's the fog of war, so it's very hard to know those sorts of things. What numbers before we should really be like, upset, as opposed to feeling like we're making some progress.
So they want to know how to watch Drew and Oz tonight. He'll be on Fox 11, but you can find it at facebook.com/Dr. Drew or go to Fox 11's live feed. We just bring it over to facebook.com/Dr. Drew.
To me, what I really am interested in is what happens, not so much next week. Well, yeah, next week with like what happens next week. So this week's about treatment and testing. Like, what are you going to do for the testing? How are we going to, test people in order such a way that we can get back to work? And then what are the treatments doing? Next week, we should start to see some of the effects of that on the graphs. And if that effect is even as much as 30%, there should be a marked reduction in the hospitalizations and the death rate. That's when I will feel good. I still won't be able to really understand when we should return to work, because how do you not prevent another peak from developing? It's looking like if there's a suppression of hospitalizations and infectivity and death rate, May is sort of the zone when we could be, at least seriously coming up with plans about this. Okay.
I want to apologize for my camera. I can't figure out why it won't focus today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It looks kind of flat. I know. My technology is a little weird today.
Uh-oh. Well, at least we got to get out here.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we will try again. Do you know who we're going to have out with us tomorrow?
Not yet.
Not yet? I heard we might have someone from the Union Rescue Mission.
No, you can't do it tomorrow.
You can't do... Oh, now you can't do it in the morning?
No.
Oh, we'll find somebody else.
Maybe Friday.
But if another great thing to support here, at least in Southern California, maybe we can find...
We haven't booked anybody. We just decided to do it this morning.
Yeah. But Union Rescue Mission, URM, I think, .org is their website. It's another really important organization for homeless and COVID. URM.org. You can donate right at that website. They've been doing literally God's work for decades there, and they are one of the bright spots in the homeless story in Southern California. And Dr. Andy Bales, who is the leader of that organization, was telling me yesterday that he is seeing difference. He is seeing actual, like you can visibly see the difference of people getting off the streets into the motels and things that the governor has arranged here.
Thank God.
That this is a
Something
genuine
good came
change.
out of this.
And he also said that the gangs are not on the streets because they're fearful of getting COVID, and therefore there's no drugs. So the drug addicts are now willing to go into the facilities. So this is really good. So somebody's asking, do I believe a lot of us could have had COVID? I don't know what to do with that until we get a good antibody test. I thought at first, yes, a lot of people have had something that looked like COVID and may have been COVID, but the antibody tests are not proving to be very accurate, and they're not being widespread. And so Am I wearing a mask in public? I am wearing a mask in public. Our city and our city particularly has asked that we do so.
Yeah, but they don't want us to wear.
They want you to wear a scarf.
Yeah, on top of a mask. Like,
yeah.
I don't get it. They just don't want you to buy more masks, right?
Right. They don't want you to needlessly.
I mean, we already have masks. Like, my nail person gave me a mask. Am I allowed to wear that?
Well, you certainly can't give it to anybody because we've contaminated it. So I guess so. Yes, you can wear that.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's very confusing. But then I'm not going to, be the dissident here, the masked dissident.
All right.
Is Ray Oldhofer immune to coronavirus?
Who knows? It could be. Any advice for young AA people who are feeling isolated? Yeah, the recovering community is struggling right now. Get on. There are multiple online resources. Get on them frequent. You'll find they're actually doing pretty well. But don't isolate. Reach out. Use the phone. Call your sponsor. Call people that you used to have coffee with. Stay in connection and do it in a very systematic way because we're in this for a few more weeks.
Yeah.
And yes, you can, Eric, disinfect the mask. There are various techniques out there online. A friend of mine manufactures masks, and he just said use Lysol on both sides.
Best wishes for Dave from Dopey, and he's doing great.
He's doing really well
every day.
Yes, he's doing really very well. How are me and my family holding up? Susan, how are we holding up?
I'm starting to lose my shit.
Right, and our kids are too. And we've been under attack for several days, to a point where it is really, really dangerous. Thank you for asking.
It's not as bad as we thought it was at the beginning.
Well,
I think we're getting things under control, but it's just really disheartening.
So we're being. I'm trying to find your questions here. Looking. What is my current position? My current position is that we are, I don't know quite how to articulate it. We are clearly in certain locations like New York City, the epidemic is out of control, and absolute shutdown, not just mitigation, was clearly the intervention of choice. Some states are doing extremely well with almost no cases. And what should their course of action be is going to have to be determined by local epidemiology and hopefully testing. We're hoping for better results from the therapeutics, in which case if we can decrease hospitalizations and decrease ICU and certainly decrease the death rate, then the need for mitigation becomes less urgent, less of an issue, even though we don't want that many people getting sick if we can possibly avoid it. So social distancing, masks, hand washing, all those initial measures will once again become the important approach.
This is weird going back to work.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, ferocious virus with serious complications in certain cases. If we could start to figure out who was genetically set up for that, we would be in people are asking those questions, and that would really help us if we could answer them. Somebody asked about Alabama. I'm looking at Alabama. They will have no trouble reaching their resource needs, but they'll need a couple thousand beds. The deaths per day in Alabama will be peaking around the 20th at about 42, which is, again, for a state the size of Alabama, pretty nasty. It's right. Let me go to the restream again and see your. Yeah, things are stabilizing generally. Generally, things are improving, flattening, stabilizing. Depends where you're looking. But getting people back to work again, I'm still not sure how we do that. Can I talk about why the U.S. is much higher than anywhere else? Well, let's think about that. The U.S. has 386,000 cases and 350 million people. While if you add Spain, Italy, France, Germany, United Kingdom, Switzerland, Belgium, and Netherlands, if you add all those countries up, you get about the same population as the United States. Yet if you add those up, you get 100, 150, 250, 350, 500. You get close to 700,000 cases. So we actually, if you take the countries that add up to the same population size as ours, and I'm doing this you can argue about whether I chose the right countries or not. The point is pretty much the same, is that you add up enough of Western Europe to make 350 million population, you find that they're about twice what we are. We're at 386,000. They're close to 700,000. So it looks bad because we are a large single country. That number is a nasty number, let's face it. But if you take the same number of people in Western Europe, you get actually worse numbers. Okay, let me go back to your restream.
Lots of questions.
Germany's higher per capita. That's probably true. I'm cherry picking. Super terrific. Tell me how. Please give me that. I'll happily take that criticism.
What does that mean?
It means I'm selectively supporting my argument by selecting the data consciously, knowing that it's not right. I don't know that it's not right. So if it needs to be modified, I'll happily do so.
Somebody says Drew is way too positive before. Now he's a total bummer. It's been a rough weekend. Okay.
Yeah, we've been. Yes, I did say Washington was doing remarkably well and is already on the down. Washington State already on the downslope significantly. Washington's done an amazing job. Losartan. Okay, Dave wants to know about the use of the ARBs and the ACE inhibitors. I've been getting guidance on that every day from various professional societies, and they are saying, for sure, if somebody is stable, their blood pressure is stable on these medicines, do not change them. There was some concern initially that they might actually upregulate some of the receptor sites and increase the accessibility to the lungs by the virus. Now there's some evidence that suggests it actually goes the other way, so that it's not. It actually may improve things. I'm going to stay agnostic and just say, take the advice, don't change the medication. I'm reading your large note here, Raz. Okay.
He's on Facebook.
Okay. All right. I'm seeing that, and I yes, and yes.
What is
And
it?
he's making a case, I think, about returning back to work. It's hard to follow it, where this scroll goes. All right. Okay.
You want to read it?
I know, because I'm not sure it'll. All right.
No, I don't have to. I'm not a very good reader.
The amount of cases per day eventually will reach, because it moves, maximum, what they are referring to as the peak. So the number of people requiring hospitalization will start to decrease as people leave the hospital, and the ability for the virus to spread decreases since some people will have developed immunity, and we can continue social distancing measures. As you follow along the graph with your cursor, you should see the numbers corresponding to required resources per day. That's correct. Raz, thank you for that. People can look at what Raz just said and follow his directions at the website, covid19.healthdata.org. Yeah, it seems like the ICU admissions in New York are going down, as are the discharges are going up, the hospitalizations are going down. And again, we will be able to see those curves again, and probably Wednesday or Thursday, and see how, if they adjust down and left, we're just doing great. We're doing really, really, really well. So at the end of this, see, the way to think about this week is this is the week, we're in the fog of war. People want to know what my position on this virus is. It's nasty. Dr. Fauci told us it's worse than the flu. I adopted that point of view as soon as he said so. It's created a fog of war where it's hard to tell exactly what's going on and where we are, even when you look at these models. But the way the models, the way the response to therapeutics are going, the way the response to social distancing and isolation is working, it's moving everything in the right direction. And as a result of that, we should start to see the fog of war lift and be able to kind of see the road ahead. That's what I'm hoping by the end of the week. So somebody's saying you're a fool if you use mask. I think masks would be a good thing. I think elevators are the main issue, and trains are the main issue in New York. And if you're on an elevator or train, I think a mask could be a good idea, particularly. And we've been asked in this city and this county to wear masks at all times on the outside. So we will, the one nice thing about this entire thing is we've been, whether you disagree or agree with the measures being taken, it's incumbent on us all to just unify and do what our leaders have asked us to do. They have not asked us to do anything outrageous. They've asked us to do stuff that I know will work. We'll make this better. You're seeing evidence of it already. Hopefully we'll get through it quicker because of that, and maybe it'll be worth the effort. Fine. Let's all get together and do it. So whatever they ask us to do, it's our job, not just for ourselves, but to protect everybody else, to do exactly what the leadership asks us to do. And the reality is everyone's been doing it, at least on the coast. When you look at, there are graphs out there that show movement. They're by following people's cell phones. There's actually, the phone companies can track your movements. And in parts of the country, people are still moving around an awful lot. So be very careful with that and think about that. Is Plaquenil dangerous, Holly? No, it is not dangerous. I've been using it for decades. I've never seen a single side effect from it. We use it in lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, dermatomyositis, Sjogren's syndrome, all sorts of things like that. I've had people on it for years, never seen any side effects. So if we are asked to use it prophylactically, which is something that is sort of discussed now, that might be something we could use as a preventative measure, I will be enthusiastic about that. But you really have to see the data before we can know about that. Yes, I enjoy peace. Nice moniker there. I have heard of that cytidine, and I've seen things like that being used. So there are some monoclonal antibody type medication and antiviral, immune modulatory medication that it can affect cytokine activity, which is part of the cascading problem in this illness. But as I talked about earlier, it may have something to do with the low oxygen tension in red blood cells also. And if we can kind of go at that physiology specifically, we may be able to prevent that cytokine inflammatory cascade that's causing people to get so sick so fast. Yeah, CS, I don't know why he keeps giving such a gloomy outlook. It's looking really good in Los Angeles. And people should be congratulated for the hard work they're doing. Thoughts on traveling via cruise ship this summer? I would like to go back out and patronize the cruise business. I'm not bold enough to do it this summer. I'd like there to be a vaccine around before we really think about that. And okay. If someone in your family gets sick or we get sick, do you assume the worst? Well, you have to assume if it's a febrile illness with a cough, you just, until proven otherwise, you have to isolate and assume it's coronavirus. All right, guys. Zinc helps. I'm going to find out the mechanism for zinc. It's something that has been useful in colds. I don't know the mechanism, and they're saying it's useful with the hydroxychloroquine. And again, I'll have to look up the specific mechanism for you. I'll look at that. All right, let's kind of wrap things up. We got to wrap things up a little bit early today. We'll try to get back in tomorrow morning and highlight another of our heroes, our people that are giving back. Please do go to send your email to patinacares@patinagroup.com. And you can not only support a great brand, support restaurant workers, and support people on the front line and the homeless, all with one donation. They're doing a great job for a low price of distributing food to people in need. Thank you. Again, patinacares@patinagroup.com, or also 213-663-0046.
Wait, say it slower.
213-663-0046. And we'll try to come back in tomorrow. Again, also, don't forget to check out the Union Rescue Mission, urm.org. The stuff they're doing is pretty amazing. And we'll try to get some sort of national brands going as well, where you can offer some support for people. Right now, our main focus is New York City, and I feel like we should be putting our energies there. New York is where this is the ground zero for this whole thing, and they're clearly going to get it and have gotten it worse than anybody. So let's try to support them as best we can. Mm-hmm. Yes, Danny, be careful. Isolate. He's talking about his specific underlying conditions. Wow. All right, and we will see you tomorrow. I think if I do this, it's going to have to be in the morning, mm-hmm. and so hopefully we can pull that off, and we will see you then.
We'll see how I feel tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Monique. Needles have increasingly become a part of everyday life. Proper disposal is both difficult and expensive. We have the solution. Simpler, safer, affordable, and fulfills the obligation to protect our environment. A single stick with something like this means tracking down the user. It means blood test for the person's stock. It means possibly medication for an extended period of time. Needle sticks are devastating. No more. Incinerate the needle. Needle goes in this port. It's over. Done. Needle gone. We all have loved ones who use needles. keep their home safe. Medical offices are loaded with sharps. We are using ancient technology to protect our patients, our staff, ourselves. You know what needle sticks do. You know the cost and the devastation psychologically and physically, potentially, from a needle stick. Eliminate that completely. Stop using ancient technology. Sand MIDI. It will solve your problems. Find out more at needledestructiondevice.com. We've all been very focused on how to stay healthy these days, but we've not been talking about hydration. If you get coronavirus, flu, or even experience allergies, cold, a variety of everyday ailments, they all need hydration. And that's why it's a perfect time to welcome our friends at Hydrolyte back. This is a great product. You all know I've talked about it for a long time. This was the hydration product I wanted to invent, and they got it there before me. Now remember, dehydration can make you feel sick, even a slight amount, and none of us need that anxiety right now, so stay well hydrated. I am thrilled to welcome our good friends at Hydrolyte back to the show. Longtime fans remember my obsession with Hydrolyte, which is literally the best hydration product I have found. I'm even more excited to introduce their brand new single-serve powder sticks. Simply pour 1 powder stick into a glass of water. They recommend 7 ounces. The powder dissolves instantly and creates the perfect balance of sodium, glucose, and water to deliver up to 4 times the electrolytes of your typical sports drink. And think about it, you can take this anywhere. You should have it on hand to just pour it into water, and you have a real significant hydration product. The other great news about Hydrolyte, the powder sticks, they are 100% natural, no artificial flavors, colors, or sweeteners, and they are available in flavors like orange and lemonade, and they taste great. Hydration is crucial. Hydrolyte